Police in Toronto say the 2 people killed when gunfire erupted at a street festival this weekend were targeted. The city's police chief just provided an update on the investigation into the shooting. It happened at the Salsa on Clair festival on Saturday night, when about 13,000 people were in the streets enjoying Latin music on what was a beautiful evening. In addition to the 2 deaths, many more were injured. Here's Chief Myron Demkiw speaking last hour.
Events like this need to serve as a reckoning. The fact that individuals who use guns in a crowded public setting with no regard whatsoever for the safety of those around them is alarming. As police, we will continue to do everything we can to tackle gun violence, but everyone has a role to play.
The CBC's Jennifer Yoon was at that news conference, and she joins us now live from Toronto Police Headquarters. So Jennifer, what did we hear from the chief about the police investigation?
Yeah, we found out a little bit more about what exactly happened on Saturday night. The first thing that the chief said is that the police believe these 2 people who were shot to death were targeted. We also know the identities of the 2 we now know young men who lost their lives that night, 25-year-old Shaquan Kwashi and 20-year-old Cesar Vernaza. 2 firearms were recovered at the scene, and we also learned that some of the people who were injured were innocent bystanders, although the police would not say how many of the 4 who were injured were innocent bystanders. The police are still gathering information. Remember, there were 13,000 people in the area when the shots rang out and the shooting happened. So many of them, like you and me, have phones. Many of them were filming. So on top of the eyewitness accounts, there's a lot of video footage that police expect to have to go through. So they'll be sifting through that, and they're doing that kind of work at the moment. Police chief is also trying to reassure the public, because this isn't the only shooting that happened in Toronto over the weekend. On Friday, there was another fatal shooting uptown near Jane and Shepherd. And on Saturday, or early Sunday, 3:30 a.m., there was another shooting by the lakefront, by the waterfront in Toronto as well. But police chief trying to say that when you look at the statistics, gun violence is actually down this year compared to what they were last year.
And Jennifer, the chief also called for reforms he thinks will help prevent public shootings like this in the future. Tell us more about what he had to say.
Yeah, and you just heard it in the intro. The chief really acknowledges that this is a moment of reckoning and people don't feel safe. And he's calling for law reforms, calling on legislators to target crimes like this and prosecute them much more strongly. Take a listen to what he had to say.
You need some reforms that address that and recognize that if you pull out a gun in a public space, in a public square, or the Eaton Center, or any other public gathering, and fire it indiscriminately, that should be treated with the utmost seriousness in the law. And if someone dies as a result of that, there should be no debate on what the motive was behind that shooting. That should be a pathway to first-degree murder.
And the police chief and the mayor also calling on a crackdown on legal American guns in Canada. The chief said most of the crimes that are committed with guns in the city are with guns that are illegally smuggled or otherwise brought through the border and used for criminal misdeeds. Now, it's not clear, he would not confirm if any of the guns that were used in this particular shooting on Saturday at Salsa at St. Clair were American, but he did point to that pattern. Another thing that the police chief mentioned is that he really thinks that tackling gun violence is the job of many different actors in society, legislators, schools, school boards, parents. But when I asked him if there is anything that he would have done differently, that he thinks the police could have done differently or better to try and respond, he told me that those discussions should be had and absolutely will be had at an appropriate time without saying when that would be exactly.
Jennifer, thank you. That is the CBC's Jennifer Yoon live at Toronto Police Headquarters.